I'm like conscious about the kind of teamwork aspects, and that you've been working with the same kind of team, and you've all kind of grown up together. You probably had some times as well when, for instance, it might not have gone so well, for instance, and just about how you kind of just constantly build those relationships. Was it just getting in with everyone having the long-term goal, and it's like, no matter what, we're going to just keep going? I know you said before about kind of Arthur went off and did a number of films as well to kind of just boost his experience and confidence. But I'm just conscious of how you keep that team dynamic, I guess, growing without everyone kind of slipping into their own kind of practices without any more kind of external input like you had from your other boom operators that you were working with.
Well, there's not a direct answer for that question, but let me tell you about the dynamic of the team. And one thing that I'd say to you is, you know, you said there might have been times where things didn't go so well. You know, I think that I made all of my mistakes on freebies and commercials. I think by the time I started doing movies, I wasn't really making mistakes anymore. Of course, there is always going to be tough days on movies, but I don't, you know, we've got our workflow pretty locked down, and if we have a tough day, it's because of circumstances. It's never because of mistakes. They just don't happen, and those guys wouldn't be with me if mistakes happened. You know, I'd have other guys with me.
No, of course, but just in the
Look, here's the deal. I'm a perfectionist, and Arthur and Robin are at the top of their game because they know I'm a perfectionist, and I do, you know, look, I drive them pretty hard. You know, I'm permanently thinking all day long, what can we do to make this better? How can we do? Can we get that 1 meter more carpet deep into the room without it going into the camera shot, so that we can remove 3 more footsteps from this walk and talk? You know, I'm permanently trying to push the boundaries. I'm permanently trying to get the microphone closer. I'm permanently on Arthur's case. You know, we have a talkback system where we can talk to each other in the middle of takes, okay, if we need to. He has a microphone on his headphones very, very close to his mouth, which he can whisper to me on if he needs to. I'm permanently talking to them through takes. I don't watch my meters, okay? I don't watch what my hands are doing. I watch 3 monitors if there's 3 cameras, 2 monitors if there's 2 cameras, with my you know, my eyes being mainly on the top of frame on the wide picture, and I'm permanently talking to Robin and Arthur about where they can be, okay, and about if they're getting a little too close or if they should be closer. The reason being is quite simple, because if I can get the microphone closer, I can bring the gain down. If I can bring the gain down, then I get better signal to noise. Thank you, Chris Newman, for that lesson. If I can bring the gain down, I get better signal to noise. And if I get better signal to noise, it means the dialogue sits out further in front of the background noise. Simple equation. But when you talk about the team and the dynamic, let's go to that. So, and how that's grown. Arthur said very, very early on in his career that he never wanted to be a production sound mixer. He was quite open about that with me. He said, and this is going back to when we were 27 years old, he said, I want to be the best boom operator in the world. And that's all he's ever been focused on. He's never worked because he wants money. He's never worked because he wants, because he wants to be a production sound mixer. He's worked because he wants people to say, that guy is the best in the world. And that's been his drive to get where he is. He's up there. There's no doubt. I've never worked with a boom op as good as him. I can't say he's the best in the world because I haven't worked with every boom operator. But I'd like to see someone better than him. I don't know how they do it, because he's on 1 inch off the edge of frame for everything. And he understands lighting. He's a very, very creative guy. Okay, he's very artistic. His mind work. We already talked about his love of hip hop. He's an artist, and he understands lighting. And he has the friends he makes on the set are often the gaffer, you know, the electricians who are into lighting, because he understands what they're doing. He gets it, you know. And when, I'll say, look, can we put a chop on that? And he'll say, look, Simon, you can't ask for that, because if we put a chop on that, you know, then they're not going to get the effect. I know exactly what they're trying to do with that light, and he gets it, okay, and he, you know, and he's collaborative with the people around him, and he'll find another way. And that makes him very popular with gaffers and electricians. Now Robin is my computer expert. Okay, so the niche that he's found himself in the department is that, you know, as we get the challenges of new technology and sound equipment becomes more and more software based, and we need the ability to interface between the Mac and the sound mixer, and all of the playback, and, you know, getting audio into telephone conversations, and, you know, all of the stuff which we have to do now that didn't exist 15 years ago, or very rarely existed, and Les Mis and the playback and the hidden earpieces and the induction loops. That's Robin's thing. He is super, super technical. He is also an extremely talented boom operator, but he also, you know, if I got sick, Robin could mix, no problem, you know. And if I get presented with some new technology, it'll be Robin who I phone and say, Rob, can you come around? We need to talk about this bit of equipment. We need to sit down together. Let's work it out together. And he's kind of like my go-to guy, who will often, you know, counsel me when I'm nervous about a bit of equipment, and learn new equipment with me, and, you know, and give me advice. And you know, my computer skills are limited. You know, I love computers, but I didn't grow up with one. I'm a little bit too old for that, and I also didn't embrace computer technology. I think my year at school was the last year in the UK that didn't get taught computer. We didn't have a computer studies class at school. That was the year younger than me. Okay, so although I'm au fait with computers and they don't make me nervous, Robin's computer skills, Mac or PC, you know, he could easily go and be an IT guy in any company in the world, and they would embrace his skills immediately. So that's the dynamic. That's how we've all kept growing. And, you know, and what I've tried to do is my focus has just been on getting the cleanest dialogue possible. Why? Because I want to save that magical performance. It may only happen once. Some actors can do it again and again and again in an ADR studio 6 months later. Other actors absolutely cannot. And what I feel it's my job to do is to give the director and the dialogue editor the choice of using the production sound, or whether they're going to go to ADR. I never want them to be pushed into a corner and have to ADR a scene that was absolutely nailed by the cast, that is just shining with performance, but has to be looped because the sound quality, the dialogue quality isn't good enough. That's what drives me forward.